After the critical and popular success of the Borderlands 2 DLC Assault on Dragon Keep, Gearbox made a decision that wasn't utterly terrible. They decided to make a full-length version, and the result is this: Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
We're playing bunkers and badasses, baby!
And I, Tiny Tina, am the bunker master. So what I say goes! And I say there's a magical diamond buying a corn named Butt Stallion who saves the day!
Oh, I was kind of hoping we would save the day.
And yes, it's obviously ripping off Dungeons and Dragons. Let's hope they don't mind.
I built you guys this big overworld on the table. Just move your miniature wherever you want to go on it.
Nice detailing on the landscape. Feels like there's a whole world just waiting for us to kill and loot it.
That's right! Welcome to my Wonderlands!
People have already noticed the game is a bit toned down from previous outings.
Who for you? I love two things in this world: rat, quest, and huge explosions!
What is wrong with your loot?
I don't know. It's made of wood from the forest, which should make it magic.
The game takes place entirely inside the Wonderlands, apart from the small room where the board game itself is located. There are two other characters besides Tina, in the real world I mean, and to be honest, I can't remember their names, even if they are written on the screen every time they speak.
Uh-oh, a rock slide bars your way to the village.
We're ruined! All is lost!
Very heroic. Tina, can we blow up the rocks?
Sorry, it's impossible. Without explosives!
Victory! I'd never lost hope.
Ahead, you hear the roar of raging fire and the clackety-clackety of bones!
We're here to save the village!
Ha! Ooh, the village is already ransacked and crawling with skilly men.
We're here to avenge the village!
The Wonderlands are ruled over by Queen Butt Stallion. If you've played Assault on Dragon Keep, this won't be a surprise. Although the developers, and myself, appear to have only just noticed her initial spell BS. The Wonderlands are being threatened by the Dragon Lord, who has one of those Borderlands over-the-top bad guy personalities that I love.
Yes, yes. Push on, my armies of unyielding darkness. Once I take this city, the whole world will fall into my hands. We've got a live wire! Is this working for you? I want you to hate me. I'm talking true loathing, like an absolute rage smoldering within, hollowing you out like a house fire. Just let me know if there's anything else I can do. Mentor figures I can kill. I'm all ears.
The starting area serves as the tutorial, of course.
A fallen tree bars your path. What you gonna do about it, huh?
I cast Identify Tree.
It's a species called Jumpus tutorialis, and weirdly, it only grows in this one valley. You can just jump, like any time. I'm not gonna make you roll for it.
Unlike a traditional Borderlands game where they usually open with 4 character classes and then maybe patch in an extra 2 later, here you've got 6 classes right out the box ready to go, which is unusual, and each one of them is based on your typical Dungeons and Dragons archetypes. The Berserker, I think that's how it's pronounced, is your typical barbarian, with powers that specialise in close combat, plus extra frost damage. The Berserker also draws power from their rage, which builds during battle. interestingly named Stabbermancer is built to be an assassin, specialising in stealth and dealing lots of critical hits.
Next time, learn to pick an easier mark. Look out! Down. Never mind.
The Spell Shot is the obvious wizard, dealing in spells, yes, but also guns, gaining power when using either in ranged combat.
Should have brought it.
Spore Warden is built around a ranger class, dealing damage from afar while being helped by a pet mushroom that spits acid.
Suffer my ball fight!
Ah, what is that? Burn it! Stab it! Kill it!
We're freaking out. It's just a mimic. This is why I shoot every chest just to be sure.
The Clawbringer. This one I had a little bit of trouble classifying, but I believe it's a spell sword, using both melee and ranged attacks, fire and lightning. Variety seems to be its trick. Also, they have a pet dragon.
The gods guide my arm!
And finally, the Graveborn, the obvious necromancer. They spend large amounts of health to inflict devastating attacks that hopefully restore their health in some way afterwards. High risk, high reward. Also, they have a pet demi-lich. Whatever one of those is.
Slice to me is worth 10 of the rest.
I examined all 6 classes. I played about 3 hours with each to get the feel for them, and afterwards I carefully weighed the pros and cons of each one and made a fully independent decision to choose exactly what everybody else went for, which was obviously the Clawbringer. He has a pet fucking dragon! Your usual crazy characters are present, and yes, even the supporting cast is, as usual, a bunch of nut jobs.
A single villager remains alive in the carnage. But she look bad, baby. She looks like she's about to die.
Might as well save her peasant ass.
Thank you for saving my peasant ass, stranger. How can I ever repay you? May the Queen's favor see your noble quest through. Whew, my peasant ass is killing me!
You have a health level, of course, as well as a ward. Why they didn't just call it a shield is beyond me. As usual, you start with 2 gun slots, later you'll unlock 3 and eventually all 4, but as usual it takes way too long to unlock them for me. Other features open up as you play as well. You get armour very early on, but necklaces and rings take bloody ages to get. There's a slot on screen for them. I can see it! It's not as if it needs a bloody complex tutorial on how to use them. Unlike Assault on Dragon Keep, grenades have not been modified into working like spells. They're now just straight up spells. And praise the gods of gaming, they have a short cooldown. I have always found it really fucking annoying when fast-paced games like this give you superpowers that take fucking ages to recharge. It's annoying, the game is fast, I want my powers to recharge fast. It's what I call the Destiny syndrome. Thankfully, Wonderlands does not suffer from that problem.
Unleashed.
You get a choice of 2 action skills instead of just the usual 1. And if you're a veteran of Borderlands games, almost all of this will be familiar. If not, well, the game drip feeds it so slowly, you're not going to be overwhelmed by any of it. First weapon you actually come across is an axe. Yeah, there are melee weapons here. That's a first. And let's be honest, probably a last. The melee combat here is shockingly effective. The smaller weapons hit faster, the bigger weapons knock the enemies off balance. It's so far removed and so much better than the usual ineffective rifle butts that the usual Borderlands games do. You get the typically gargantuan arsenal of guns to pick up, shoot, replace and sell. Much later on, after a certain mission involving the ocean, you'll unlock a second class to use, creating a hybrid class effectively. I went first for the Clawbringer, obviously, and then later added Spellshot to the mix to create the Hexecutioner. Just be aware that as soon as you select the second class, you don't get an "Are you sure?" message on screen. It doesn't do a Chris Tarrant, it just locks it in instantly. Choose wisely. The beauty of these hybrid classes is that both classes benefit from one another, and both of them can benefit anything you do. Basically, there's intermingling of all the different skills. For example, the Clawbringer, which I used, amps up lightning damage, whereas the Spellshot amps up gun damage. So a lightning gun benefits from them both, and I know some people online swear by the combination of Clawbringer and Spore Warden, because apparently their pets benefit from the pet bonuses of both classes as well, and some people say that it renders you unstoppable. You also start with an unusually whopping 36 inventory slots to start with. And that's nowhere even near enough. In a regular game it'd be overkill, yes, but this one drowns you not only in guns, but spells and melee weapons as well. You're gonna need those slots. Spells have a wide variety of effects and elements, and give them credit, they've tried their damnedest to make every type of weapon, melee and spells as well, as varied as the guns normally are.
energy! And sending it back to me, which means I can do things like this. Suddenly, a barrage of skeletons attacked the unsuspecting idiots in the forest. They came out of that crystal! You gotta destroy it with your badass red weapons! And spells!
A villain in our midst! Only dust shall remain!
Oi! Lord Sky! Open up the gate!
Speak the password?
Passwords open the bloody gate before I shove leaves down your throat, stick a handle on your ass, and turn you into my own personal bloody teapot!
It's definitely him, guys! Open the gate!
Different to this game is the Overworld. So it's sort of like a world map that you can actually jump into and explore. And there are secrets stashed all over the place. Even entire levels can be hidden if you don't examine everything. The central city of Brighthoof acts as the main hub. Dreamvale Overlook seems to be designed purely as a hub for the DLC, which is a shame because it looks gorgeous as all hell. I don't want to spoil too much of this game, but I had to show you this bit. To get to the Dragon Lord's base across the ocean, you need a ship. But the ship has to be blessed by a bard before you can set off. Unless you decide you don't need one.
The good ship Balzania fears no curse. Cast off!
Okay, well, we're gonna get curse drowned.
The good ship Balzania casts off from harbor. With the wind at your back and the prow aimed at destiny, you have begun your journey across Overworld.
I cannot stress enough how important the Bard's blessing is.
Ugh, fine. We'll take this detour and find a stupid bard, but then we're going on the actual quest and saving the world!
In the meantime, I will have the worker goblins dredge your ship from the bottom of the harbor.
Collecting lucky dice gives you a blast of loot, but it also increases your loot luck level. Try saying that 5 times fast. People complained there were too many of the blasted things. 260 to be exact. Ouch. So now Gearbox have patched the game so that all your lucky dice carry across through all of your characters and all of your playthroughs. And Gearbox have decided on their own that legendaries were dropping too frequently. Well, good luck getting one now because their drop rate has been patched down. Through the floorboards. Under the bedrock and is now somewhere near the Earth's core. There is the usual Borderlands issue that I have with every single one of these games. Wonderlands is no exception. The fact that you will eventually find a combination of weapon types that you favour.
Run them through!
And that does cause me to get into a bit of a rut, because I'm using the same types of weapons repeatedly. I'm just constantly looking for more powerful variants of what I'm already using. It does start to make the combat a bit stale after a while.
Blast these undead baskets back to hell!
Can't really hold that against the game though, that's more my issue. You can't fault the game for giving you shitloads of guns as usual and then a huge variety of spells as well. There's no end of variety here, it's more my issue that I have with the game than the game's issue. Borderlands usually sticks to a particular set of rules, and it feels like Wonderland has mostly adopted them, inherited them should I say, but has bent certain ones. Like for example, you get 2 action skills per class instead of just 1. You get a whole smorgasbord of spells instead of using ammunition-based grenades, which I think was an incredibly smart move. The melee weapons, melee combat is much more viable. You don't have to shoot everything all the time. My character got quite good at meleeing enemies thanks to the fact that I kept on using a really big sword. Wonderlands, it does feel like a Borderlands game, and yet at the same time, it somehow feels like a breath of fresh air to the series.
I've lost my marbles. Would you help me find them? I was a hero like you once. At least, I think. Eldon wants to be a hero one day. Silly. Helping people who chase you with pitchforks for totally accidental and therefore not your fault property damage sounds daft to me, but he gets so excited. I play along. He's cute when he's excited.
I don't expect that the main series of Borderlands will learn much from it, but I hope they learn a trick or two, because this is good. And I like the fact that it's a bit different to usual. Right, that'll do. What did you think of my video? Leave a like or dislike down below. What did you think of Wonderlands, and how does it compare to Borderlands for you? Do you think it's better? Do you think it's worse? Do you just think it's different? Yeah? Leave a comment down below. And for those of you who can't get enough of my dulcet tones, you can always click the subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell, otherwise you don't get notifications, apparently, because YouTube is weird like that. Or if you think my voice is irritating after all this, you can always share with someone you don't like instead. See you next time.